Well, welcome back everybody to PoolieMagTV, the raw, unedited, unscripted NUFC fan channel where everybody's got an opinion and nobody's opinion's wrong. So, today's question, and this is a genuine question, this isn't off the back of the Tottenham win. This is a genuine question for everybody who watches these videos. Can Newcastle United salvage their season? Let's get into this. So, my last couple of videos have been quite contrasting, and that's because I watched two quite contrasting performances. I was very, very emotional after the Brentford match, and I still believe there's better managers out there, and I still believe that Eddie Howe will go at the end of the season. I truly do believe that. But if he doesn't and he turns us around, then I'll hold my hand up and say, right, okay, fair enough. I was clearly wrong. Now, I think somebody unsubscribed to me, so maybe they were expecting me to just pull out and, give verbal abuse in every video I do, but that's not what I do. What I do is I react to what I'm seeing. So if we play shit, I'm going to be emotional. And if we play shit for a consistent basis, then I'm going to criticise the manager. And we have been shit for probably 80% of this season. And large parts of last season and large parts of the season before. So it's not just this season. But when we win, and we win comfortably, well, not comfortably, but when we win playing well, I'm going to do a good video. We did play well against Spurs. Now, I know Spurs are dog shit, but we played well against them. I'm not going to, just because I want Eddie Howe out, which I do, just because I want Eddie Howe out, and just because I was emotional, that doesn't mean I'm going to be, oh, well, we were lucky there, it's still shit, I still do. No, I'm just going to tell you how it is, from my point of view. So when we play good, I'm going to do an upbeat video. I'm not anti-Newcastle. I'm not even anti-Eddie Howe. I just think he's ran his course. That's it. But so if you are watching these videos and you're expecting me to be exactly the same on every video, well then you're watching the wrong channel, because I'm not going to be screaming and shouting every video. If we win 4-0, you'd expect me to come on and fucking hate Eddie Howe. Of course I'm not. I'm gonna congratulate the team, and I'm gonna congratulate the manager for the win. Doesn't mean I want him as our long-term manager. Doesn't mean I still don't want change in the club. But it means you're reacting to what you're seeing on the day and not having an agenda. I don't have an agenda, I have an opinion. There's a difference. People with agendas don't see the other side of the argument. People with opinions usually react on what they're seeing about that certain subject. Now, the certain subject is Newcastle United. And then you dissect that certain subject into the matches that they have and the transfers that they do and other things. And people have different opinions. But I don't have an agenda. I'm not going to start stamping around St James's Park with an Eddie Howe banner out. Eddie Howe out banner. And I'm not going to see, and I'm not too blind to see that other people have different sides of the argument, and they too have their opinion. So that's what I wanted to come on to say today at the beginning of this video. If you're expecting me to be screaming and shouting and kicking off even when we win, then you're watching the wrong channel. You really are, because I'm here to. I don't have no agenda. I have an opinion. There's a difference. Look it up. If I think we play well, I'll tell you we play well. If I think we play shit, I'll say we played shit, and we've played shit consistently. Then you probably will get a reaction like you did against Brentford, because we have been playing shit consistently, and that was just a build-up of emotions of a culmination of a poor season. But we played well against Tottenham. So I'm going to do a good video. Anyway, moving on from that, because I've spent nearly 4 minutes explaining myself, and that's 4 minutes of my life and your life you're not getting back. So, moving on. So, genuine question, can Newcastle United turn this season around? Does Eddie Howe have what it takes to turn this season around? Will the players who clearly we're fighting for him, I can't say the word, who clearly played for him against Spurs, but would that team have beat Villa away? Would that team have beaten Fulham away? Would that team have beaten Everton away? I know we have beat Everton away, but the team we played, I'm not too sure. I'm not convinced that Anthony Gordon up front is the answer. I'm really not. He rushes around and he harries people and things like that. But is he the answer? No, he doesn't score goals. He scored 1 goal from open play in over a year in the Premier League. Not good enough. Yes, he's quick, he's this, he's that, but he's not the answer. I'm sorry, he's not. I'd rather play Willa Souther up front than Anthony Gordon. I really would. If you're not going to play Wissa and you're not going to play Nick Voltemara, and I'm going to get into them, by the way, and I'm going to get into why I believe we won't turn our season around. I think we'll pick up a few wins here and there, like we did against Spurs, but I don't think we'll fully turn our season around. And there's a big reason why. But I'm just gonna continue with my point about Anthony Gordon. He's a good player. He's not as good as what he thinks he is, and he's not as good as what some of the media thinks he is. Certainly not as good as some of our fans think he is. But I think he's been okay this season, on the whole. I don't think he's been shit, but I don't think he's been fantastic. Has he been shit? Yes. Has he been fantastic? Yes. So somewhere in the middle's okay. And that's where I would say Anthony Gordon is. He's okay. But he's not a number 9 as long as I've got an all in my ass. He's just not. Doesn't score enough goals. He doesn't get into the right positions. And all he does is run around and cause problems. Yeah, you can get away with that with a rigid, shitty, scared, nervous Spurs team. But a good defence would just pass around Anthony Gordon. Really, they would just pass around him. And he doesn't make the runs out of striker would. He's never in the right place when a cross comes in. And he's just not the answer. Now, I know Craig Hope, I've started to go off Craig Hope a little bit because he clearly does have an agenda. There is an agenda with Craig Hope, and it's, you know, he marginalises when Newcastle do bad and when Eddie Howe does bad, and he over praises when they do good. That to me is somebody who wants to be in every press conference asking every question. And he daren't ask the hard questions, and he doesn't ask the hard questions. If you listen to the press conference, most of them he doesn't. And I like how he talks. He's a very good orator. You know, he speaks well, but so he should. So he should be in journalism. But he speaks very well. But he has a bit of an agenda. It's an Eddie Howean agenda. He always minimalises when we do well, and he always makes excuses or find excuses. And his big excuse is Nick Voltemara, the solution to somebody else's problem. Well, my comeback to that is, Craig, why buy him? You clearly, or clearly not, scouted him. You've had 6 to 7 months to work with him, and he just doesn't fit in to the way you... Why buy him? Why buy him in the first place? Clearly doesn't have the same profile as an Alexander Isak. That is perfect. He's clear. He's 6'7". He doesn't have the pace. He's a completely different player. Be like swapping Mbappe for Harry Kane and expecting Harry Kane to be running about like Mbappe does. You don't buy an Harry Kane and expect him to adapt to a system that suits a Kylian Mbappe. And that's basically what we've done on a lesser scale, because obviously Isak's not Mbappe and Voltemara's not Kane. But they're about the two similarities I can think of. Nick Voltemara plays a lot like Harry Kane. Isak similar to Mbappe. You know, quick speed merchant, makes good runs, scores outrageous goals. Nick Voltemara likes to drop deep. What you wouldn't buy Harry Kane and expect him to play like Kylian Mbappe. So why buy Nick Voltemara and expect him to play like Alexander Isak? Why? Why buy players and expect them to play different to how they naturally play? Don't get it. We haven't fitted him into the team. I feel sorry for the lad. There's clearly a player in there. The couple of times where we have changed a bit of a formation, or the couple of times where we have got players close to him, he's looked really well. But he's got no confidence. And why would he have confidence? Because this manager clearly doesn't believe in him. This manager's playing him out of position. And it's a disgrace, really. £68 million, and you've had 6 months with him, and you can't fit them into a system. Now, I know you might say, oh, and I'm going to get on to Whistle and all, I know you might say, well, Nick Voltemara wasn't the instant impact he was meant to have. He was meant to be just a bit part player this season, so bullshit. I'm sorry, you're paying £68 million You know, after 6 months, you find a way to integrate this lad into a system that suits him. And you find a way to integrate Visser and him together. I'm sorry, but you do. You can't have £130 million of striking talent fully fit on the bench. Yes, you can get away with it against Tottenham, but you ain't getting away with it against a good team. Tottenham are the worst team I've seen us play this season. They really are. So, this little things like that, Elanga seems to be doing a little bit better, but for 90% of the season, he's been played out in a position or expected to do things that he shouldn't. So is Jacob Ramsey. Nick Faltamade, I'm sorry, but he looks like the solution to somebody else's problem, but he's our problem, and he should be our solution. So if you can't fit somebody into a system that works for them, why buy them? You don't buy players of different profiles and have a one-size-fits-all approach. It's like me at work. I work with people, right? So it'd be like me, be like John coming in with one problem and Scott coming in with another problem. But I just use the same methods to solve Scott's and John's problems. Well, it just wouldn't work, would it? Because they both got different problems. Just like Isaac and Voltemada both have different profiles. You can't set them in a rigid one-size-fits-all approach. 4-3-3. There you go. You do it my way or the highway type of thing. There's no flexibility with Howe. There isn't, or minimal. I think he's struggling this season. It was great. Do you know, I don't hate Eddie Howe, so it was great to see the fist pump. It was great to see the players still playing for him. Because at the end of the day, I'm a Newcastle fan. I don't want us to go down. I don't want us to drop down. I want us to finish in Europe. I want us to win games. Of course I do. I don't go into matches thinking, you'll get beat just to prove me right. No, of course I don't. I'd rather be wrong and Newcastle win every game. I would. Of course I would. But no, I don't believe just because we beat Spurs that we turned the corner. I really don't. And I don't think we will turn the corner. I think it'll be more of the same. I think Villa will turn us over. I think we'll struggle against Karabakh. I think City will turn us over. And then you're looking down again. I really do. And I'm not being pessimistic. I'm being realistic. I can only go off what they've shown this season. And what they've shown this season isn't good enough. I hope I'm wrong. I hope we do turn our season around. But let's not get carried away just because we beat a woeful Spurs team. Anyway, what's everybody's opinions? Can this Newcastle team turn it around? Hit like, hit subscribe, and comment down below. And as I always say, keep it black and white and keep it PoolieMagTV over and out.